Space Marine 2 came out not too long ago, and right from the get-go, I knew what I wanted to be. Finally, we get to the class I'm probably looking forward to the most, Bulwark. And so it was the first I grinded up to max level, and I'm damn glad that I did. In my opinion, the Bulwark is one of the best classes to play in endgame operations. Oh sure, you can post up at the back of the map like a wuss and fire off charge-up laser shots while your friends get their hands dirty and do all the real work.
No offense.
But if you want to man the fuck up and be
knee-deep in the blood of your foes,
well then good news. Today we're going over my short guide on how to Bulwark. Let's take it from the top. The Bulwark is your standard tank, and your primary job is as follows. Be in the center of combat and make sure all aggro is focused primarily on you, because you're an extremely tough nut to crack, while waves of enemies are focused on trying to pry you open like a clamshell plastic case. Hopefully, your teammates will be free and unbothered, allowing them to gun down everything surrounding you from a safe range. Make no mistake, other classes bring much more to the table in terms of offense. A tactical, a sniper, a vanguard, or a heavy can all dish out pain way faster, and that's fine. But the Bulwark is the official backup parachute, the emergency brake, the anchor of the goddamn ship. If your team has been separated by a massive enemy wave and your bros are taking a beating or getting downed, you're the guy that's gonna save the run and make sure that the last 30 or so minutes weren't all for nothing. Oh sure, you'll miss out on being able to do things like use a primary weapon, but trust me, you don't need one. Melee weapons are your bread and butter, and while you have access to both the power fist and the chainsword, I'm gonna strong recommend the power sword. It is worth mentioning that if you really want to focus on raw crowd control and nothing else, the power fist actually does that fairly well. But the power sword not only looks badass, but IMO has great versatility. The sword has two modes, regular and power mode, that you can change back and forth between whenever you want. I find that when I'm fighting in a 1v1, aka I'm just taking out a Majoris or an extremist level threat, I'm using my sword in regular mode. The swings are faster, and the sword functions like a mildly slower combat knife. I'll quickly dice up whoever I'm fighting, with the occasional parry thrown in on a need-to-do basis. If I'm trying to hold back crowds though, like a poor retail employee on Black Friday, then it's power mode all the way. Power swings not only hit harder, but they cover a much wider area. And yeah, the swings are slower and you're more likely to get interrupted mid-swing. However, the Bulwark has options on their ability tree to prevent getting knocked back or getting interrupted, not to mention they have copious amounts of bulk. Also, power swings are much more likely to trigger this, hip-fire executions on lower-level enemies. So, as you swing your glowing power sword like a farmer swings their sickle across fields of tyrannid wheat, you'll reap a bountiful harvest of non-stop executions, replenishing armor as you do so. TLDR, regular mode for solo, power mode for crowds. Next thing to talk about, what type of sword you're bringing to the party. I ain't saying there's such a thing as a quote wrong sword, but I am saying that I will 100% go to bat hard for any power sword with the fencing style defense. My reasoning is as follows. If the Bulwark is not intended for DPS, but rather meant to be the unmovable rock that enemies break upon like waves on the beach, then it doesn't make sense to try and make the Bulwark focus on dealing max damage. It does make sense though to be a defensive nightmare for enemies, and that's what a fencing sword is. Maximize your perfect parry window and become unbreakable. No joke, when I'm fighting off big waves of enemies, even if I'm getting shot, I won't swing sometimes. I'll slowly backpedal while keeping an eye on the entire crowd, and the second an enemy makes a move and lunges at me, boom, parry. And because parries cause knockback, I then usually follow up with a big wide power swing into a hipfire execution and then back to step one. I'm telling you, you'd be amazed at how long you can stay alive doing this, even when fighting off ridiculously high numbers of foes. Your general bulk will keep you healthy. You'll regen armor from perfect parries or executions, and if you really find yourself in a tough spot, the chapter banner ability is an immediate middle finger to anyone trying to bring you down. My current favorite power sword is the Cathal Kalamor Crusade variant at relic level, aka the best fencing sword in the game, and my current perk tree is as follows, although keep in mind that this is not carved in stone. A few key weapon perks I really like. Master of Defense lets me take less range damage for a few seconds after switching combat styles on my sword. Try to get into the habit of changing your power style if you know you're approaching ranged enemies who are already shooting at you. Go ahead and keep this in mind. Ranged damage is really the only type of damage that the Bulwark fears, because enemy melees get parried away immediately and easily. Tranquility prevents you from being knocked back in Power Whirl stance, and maybe the most important, Power Restoration. Power style attacks restore 100% more contested health. Again, if I'm using the sword in regular mode, that means I'm 1v1ing an enemy and therefore I'm probably not in any real danger. If I'm using the sword in power mode, that means I'm getting swarmed, and therefore perks like Power Restoration are there to make sure I retain my health as efficiently as I can. Alright, class perk wise, I know that because I've talked a big game about perfect parrying, you might make the assumption that this build is going to focus on perks like Intimidating Aura or Defensive Advantage, but no. You can definitely run those perks if you like, but even with all the parrying I do out in the field, my main Bulwark build focuses almost entirely on bulk and defense. You are the official run saver, and therefore we are going to be as chunky as humanly possible. First, Conviction. When your armor is fully gone, you gain DR for 5 seconds. A bit limiting, yeah, but this can keep reprocking every time you lose armor after getting it back, and it's great for survivability. Next, Scrambled Targeting. Again, the Bulwark only fears ranged damage, and we will do whatever we can to get that number lowered, so Scrambled is a must. Next up, Steel Within. When your health is less than 50%, you take 25% less damage. This is huge in terms of making the Bulwark an unkillable monster, especially if you have yet to use your chapter banner ability. For your team perk, Advanced Conditioning. Contested health fades 50% more slowly for everybody. Although, to be honest, effective formation is extremely tempting if you're playing on max difficulty. Ain't nothing wrong with taking that instead. I just think Advanced Conditioning will help your team more frequently. Focused Strength isn't really vital. There just isn't much in this column that outshines it. I do not like Rapid Regeneration for the record. I want my banner to be on the ground as long as possible. Invigorating Icon. Drop that banner and get maximum contested health. Hell yeah. And Glory Shield makes you harder to hurt while in the banner's radius. However, I'd completely understand if you wanted to take Rejuvenating Effect. That is a damn good perk for run saving. Finally, Armored Advance. If you have armor remaining, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. Huge for helping you stand your ground, especially against crowds. Real quick though, I will give a big shout out to Defensive Mastery, which is a damn fun perk. It's hilarious when an extremist or major rolls up on you only to immediately get clowned in one hit. Again, I'd rather never get knocked off my balance because that'll help probably more frequently. The 120-second timer on Defensive Mastery is kind of annoying, but if you did want to run that perk, literally nobody would blame you. Very fun. And now, some final tips to make sure you're really bulwarking at max efficiency. Number 1, be patient. There will come times when you're surrounded and you will begin to panic. Be calm and let enemies come at you and kick things off with a parry. Fear not the Horde, brother, for you are unbreakable and you will outlast them if you play patiently. Number 2, always hit loadout change stations. At the time of me recording this, there's a glitch in the game where if you go to the loadout station and change your build to the same build you already have on, you get free maximum health, but only if you're playing a Bulwark, so always do that. Number 3, try to avoid grabbing stims. Because you get free health from loadout stations and because you're very hard to kill in general, be a bro and let your fellow teammates heal up instead of you. You should only grab stims if you're literally on death's door. Number 4, never grab ammo boxes ever. I do not give a single fuck if your bolt or plasma pistol is out of ammo. Just because you can deal range damage doesn't mean that you should. Don't get me wrong, I use my pistol all the time, but you are literally bottom of the totem pole for your team in terms of claiming ammo. The tactical, the vanguard, the heavy, and the sniper all out prioritize you every time. Not only are they built for ranged damage, but their guns are straight up so much better than yours. As a Bulwark main, I am happy to give the ammo boxes to a sniper, to a heavy, to a tactical, to a vanguard. I don't need it, nor will I use it as well as they can use it. Even if your pistol is dry, fear not. You are mighty and the sword and shield is all you need. Use the pistol when you want, but steal not ammo from those who truly need it more than you, brother. If you are a Bulwark main and have any additional tips for your brothers in combat, let me know what they are down in the comment section. And if you want any guides for any other classes in the game, be sure to let me know. Thanks very much for watching. Peace!